What's going on, everybody? JTISREBORN here. Welcome back to another entry in my Halloween series reviews. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the sixth entry in the Halloween series, Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Both versions. That's right, this film is not necessarily known for the quality displayed in the filmmaking. It's mostly known amongst the fans for its various production problems that have plagued it. Hence why there are two versions of the movie, the theatrical cut, and then there's the producer's cut. For one thing, it took them forever to get this sequel out. There was the issues with what they did to Danielle Harris's character Jamie Lloyd, there were legal battles, there were various parties that were fighting over control of it, and after it scored poorly with test audiences, they went back for major reshoots which significantly changed the ending of the film. Not to mention, they couldn't bring back Donald Pleasence for the reshoots because he unfortunately passed away before the movie was released. No matter which way you look at it, this film was a complete and utter mess, and it definitely shows on screen. So sit back, grab your drinks and popcorn, or just, if you're sitting on the shitter watching this video, just sit back, enjoy taking that dump, and let's talk about Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Warning, full spoilers ahead for this review, by the way. Okay, I'm going to talk about how they are similar and how they are different throughout this review. Both the theatrical and the producer's cut of the movie begin the same way with some obnoxious flashes, and we are introduced to Jamie Lloyd, now played by J.C. Brandy, going into labor. If you're wondering who the father is, thankfully the theatrical cut doesn't give us that answer, but the producer's cut does. And I'm not going to reveal who the father is just yet. I mean, it's despicable, it's disgusting, it makes no goddamn sense at all. So, I have to set that up, throughout the course of this review. I gotta go into, why that person is the father of Jamie's baby. It's just weird. Let's just move on. I don't want to talk about it just yet, but we'll get there. At some point in the review, I will reveal, fucking full-blown Maury style, who the father of Jamie Lloyd's baby is. Anyways, another difference between the two cuts is that in the theatrical cut, the opening narration we get is from Paul Rudd as Tommy Doyle, one of the kids that Laurie babysat in the first movie. But in the producer's cut, it's Dr. Loomis doing the narration. You can probably imagine which version I prefer. It's Loomis. Anyways, so Jamie gives birth, and the man in black from the end of Halloween 5 is there to try and take her baby and use it for some sort of evil cult purposes. But with the help of a nurse, Jamie is able to escape with her baby. However, Michael continues his pursuit of her. Despite the fact that the nurse tries to help Jamie escape, she decides not to go with her for some reason. Why wouldn't you go with her? I mean, the cult is going to figure out that you were the one who helped her escape, so why not just tag along with her and help her get the fuck out of there? I mean, they're going to find out it was you, and you know what, you end up dying in the next scene anyways, so it couldn't have hurt to, help go with her. I mean, what do you got to lose? I mean, you're already going to die if you don't go with her or if you stay. Not to mention, the way she dies, it's really fucking stupid. Michael manages to sneak up on her and then takes her head and stabs her in the head on some, random spike that's in the middle of this long hallway. What is the purpose of this random spike, in the middle of this long hallway, in this middle of this, whatever you want to call it, industrial warehouse or whatever? What's the purpose of it? Whose genius idea was it to be like, you know what this hallway needs? Spikes. Phil, why do we need that? That's a major safety hazard. Because they look cool, I guess? Phil, they serve no practical use. What are you doing? They're pointy. Phil, are you high? Yes. Alright, take them down. Take them down. See, that's what should have happened. They shouldn't even be there. There's no practical use for them. They're not something you hang your coat on. Just in the middle of this long, narrow hallway. For some dumb reason. They're just there so Michael Myers can kill someone. I guess they thought of that ahead of time, and maybe the cult put them there, just set them up kind of like death traps. It's like in a video game where you're just randomly somewhere and you see all this stuff just, spawn out of nowhere. Which, for no practical reason, it's there, but in video game logic, it's like, oh yeah, all this stuff would just be lying around. I don't know, it's just dumb. Anyways, so Michael continues chasing after Jamie and her baby. At one point, he chases her into some bathroom when Jamie escapes in the stall that just conveniently has this big fucking window inside of it. Shouldn't this window be on the outside of the stall? I mean, let's pause and talk about this for a second. I don't know about you, but if I'm in public and I gotta take a shit, the last thing I want is some huge fucking window inside of the stall for everyone to see me handling my business. Imagine this. You're in there, minding your own business, you're trying to take a shit, you look behind you, and some fucking creeper is standing in the window. It's like, Jesus, pal, get the fuck out of here! Ugh. Anyways, Michael continues his pursuit of Jamie, and in the theatrical cut, he kills her at the farm, but in the producer's cut, she manages to survive, but is pathetically killed off by the man in black at the hospital she is at after he shot her with a silencer. Both deaths are absolutely awful, and a complete disservice to the character that we have followed over the course of the last couple movies. Her death in both versions has no meaning or impact to it whatsoever. In the producer's cut, it is brushed off like it is no big deal. Not to mention, how in the fuck did the man in black manage to sneak in there without anyone noticing him? Wouldn't that be a bit suspicious, seeing a guy dressed like the Crow walking around in the hospital? Shouldn't there have been some armed security around Jamie to make sure that nothing bad ever happens to her? But my biggest problem of all is her death in general. It's like the filmmakers didn't even care about her at all. She was the main character of the last two movies, and you treated her like shit in this film. It's unforgivable the way they handled Jamie Lloyd's character in this movie. What was the point of following her in the last two movies if you're just going to brush her aside like she's no big deal? This isn't just any other typical character in the movie. This is Jamie Lloyd. She's the little girl we followed. She's the one we rooted for. And you just treated her like shit. Absolute shit. Make her death heroic. Have her die honorably. Have her die stopping Michael Myers or saving a bunch of people. None of that happens in this movie at all. It's absolutely unforgivable the way they handled her character. And it's impossible for us to get emotionally invested in her death because the filmmakers themselves aren't emotionally invested in her death in the film. It sucks. It's awful. I feel so bad for what happened. Just sucks, man. Just fucking sucks. Anyways, while all of this is going on, we see that Dr. Loomis is now retired, having ended his pursuit of Michael Myers and is now living in the countryside. However, his retirement is short-lived when an old colleague named Dr. Terrence Wynn, who if you watch the first movie was this guy who was speaking to Loomis here, arrives asking Loomis to come out of retirement so they can go back to work at Smith's Grove. While initially hesitant, he leaves his countryside home to go back to Haddonfield after hearing about Jamie. Afterwards, it's at this point in the film we're introduced to our new set of victims, characters that we're supposed to follow throughout the rest of this film. Granted, they're not as annoying or as obnoxious as the characters in Halloween 5, however, none of them are very interesting. First, there is Tommy Doyle, played creepily by Paul Rudd. Ever since his encounter with Michael Myers as a child, he has devoted most of his time to researching him and trying to figure out the method behind Michael's madness. Next, there is the Strode family. First, there's Kara Strode, our main female lead throughout the rest of the film. Her son Danny, who throughout the movie is haunted by the man in black. There's the mom, Deborah Strode, and then there's her brother Tim Strode, and lastly, this Biff Tannen looking motherfucker, John Strode. He's the typical asshole of the movie. He's the character you're supposed to root for to die. No redeeming qualities, he's just a piece of shit. Anyways, both versions of the movie are similar in a sense that the characters meet up with each other. Tommy befriends Danny and at one point finds Jamie's baby and starts to take care of it. While this is going on, Lewis is searching for Michael while he continues his killing spree, by first killing Mrs. Strode before he moves on to killing the unlikable dickhead Mr. Strode. One of the few improvements that the theatrical cut actually has over the producer's cut is in Mr. Strode's death. In the producer's cut, he just gets electrocuted, he's like, ah, and then that's pretty much it. However, they do manage to improve upon this in the theatrical cut because instead of him just getting electrocuted like, his head fucking explodes, which is awesome because you can never go wrong with a good old-fashioned head explosion in a movie. It always looks cool. So, there's one improvement. It's his death's made more awesome and satisfying to watch. So, good for you, theatrical cut. You did one thing right. While Michael is busy killing Mr. and Mrs. Strode, Kara and Danny go to Creeper Tommy's house where Tommy reveals to us about why Michael is the way he is. Tommy believes that the reason Michael Myers has been killing people since he was a child was because he has been inflicted with the Druid Curse of the Thorn, an ancient curse where one child from each tribe is forced to sacrifice all the members of their family on the night of Halloween. If that's the case, then why is he off trying to kill every fucking random person in sight? If his end goal is to kill Laurie or Jamie, then just fucking kill Laurie or Jamie. Don't waste your time going after a random victim here, random victim there, random victim here, random victim there. Just get to the fucking point. This Druid curse makes no goddamn sense. Alright, so while this is going on, Michael goes and kills this random DJ for some reason before he goes ahead and kills Tim Strode along with his girlfriend Beth after they go and have sweet sex.
You fucking whore.
Anyways, Loomis meets up with Tommy and they go back to his house to join up with Kara and Danny where we finally get the reveal who the man in black really is, and it's none other than Dr. Terrence Wynn. That piece of shit! Yes, so Dr. Wynn has been the Man in Black this whole time. He's the one who inflicted the Curse of the Thorn onto Michael as a child and has been using Michael to study the power of Thorn. Why he chose Michael as opposed to anyone else, it is never explained at any point in this movie. Or any of the other movies. It's just never explained. Why'd he choose him? Who fucking knows? Not to mention, the idea that Michael Myers has just been the pawn of some evil cult this entire time is a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. He was a lot scarier in the first movie when we didn't exactly know his true motivations for killing anybody. The mystery of the unknown is what made him scarier. Now, at this point in the film is where both movies differ the most. In both versions, Tommy and Loomis go rescue Kara, Danny, and Jamie's baby from the cult at Smith's Grove. In the theatrical cut ending, Michael kills Wynn and his team of surgeons. Afterwards, Tommy confronts Michael, injects him with whatever the hell this stuff is, and proceeds to beat the shit out of him with a pipe before leaving. After this, there's an out-of-place clip of Loomis saying he has some unfinished business to take care of, and the theatrical cut ends with the sound of Loomis screaming. It's not a very satisfying demise, especially considering what we've seen in previous films. The first film, it was pretty eerie how he somehow managed to survive. Like I said, there was that mystery and intrigue. There was no sequels to build him up as the superpower. And in the second film, he gets burned to death. In the fourth movie, he gets gunned down. The fifth movie, there's the cliffhanger ending with the Man in Black, which is more exciting than the ending to this one, because you're like, fucking cliffhanger endings. But at the same time, like, who the fuck was that? There's a little bit of mystery and intrigue. And here he gets... I'm going to hit you with a pipe. And then they just walk away, and then we see his mask there, and we see the screaming. It's pathetic. It just sucks. Speaking of unsatisfying or just shitty endings, let's talk about the producer's cut ending of the film. In this version, Michael is shown under the cult's full influence. We even learned the disturbing origins of Jamie's baby.
The baby is yours, isn't it? Isn't it, Michael?
What kind of sick, fucked up shit is this? Uncle, Dad, Michael Myers? Ew, gross, get it off the screen, go away, ugh, God, ugh. This doesn't need to be there, there's no point in it. Besides, it doesn't even make sense. Why would the cult force Michael Myers to impregnate his own niece if he's just going to have the baby be the final sacrifice anyways? You could have just made Jamie the final sacrifice. That would have been it. That way you can pass it on to someone else. It doesn't need to have him just, kill this baby for it. It's so wrong and weird and stupid. It makes no sense. If you're just going to pass the curse on to anyone, it doesn't need to happen. It doesn't need to happen. It's wrong, it's sick, it's twisted, it's weird, and thankfully, the theatrical cut erased that explanation. Unfortunately, I know it now, but it didn't need to be here. It didn't need to be here at all. Move on. Just move. Let's go. Anyways, so in the climax this time around, Tommy Doyle manages to stop Michael with the use of these magic runes. That's right, Michael Myers, a seemingly unstoppable force who was shot, he was pushed off a roof, he was set on fire, he was run over by a car, he was beaten senselessly, is stopped by a couple of tiny little rocks. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you really? Oh my god. Oh, and not to mention, we get another genius cliffhanger ending. I'm being sarcastic when I say genius, because it's not genius, it's stupid. And, in fact, we never got a follow-up to this ending. We never know what happens after this in this producer's cut continuity of this universe. Let's just get it over with. Let's just go. Come on, let's move. Just fucking cut, move, get on. So, in the ending of the producer's cut, we see that scene from the theatrical ending where Loomis says he must go take care of some unfinished business. Although this time he goes back inside where he sees Michael lying on the ground. But when he goes to unmask him, it turns out to be Wynn, who had switched outfits with Michael. At which point he grabs Loomis's hand, inflicts him with the Curse of the Thorn. Loomis begins screaming like a madman. We see that Michael Myers is now the Man in Black. No matter which version of the movie you end up watching, Halloween 6 is still a bad movie. The storyline is weak. The editing is atrocious, the characters are handled poorly, not to mention both endings suck for the film, and while the producer's cut is a better version, it still has its fair share of problems. The whole uncle-dad thing is just wrong and didn't need to be there. Michael being stopped by a bunch of runes is embarrassing, and not to mention the way they handle Jamie Lloyd's character is pathetic. Outside of Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis, I could care less about any of the new characters in this movie. It's not to say that the acting is bad, it's fine, it's just that I don't find myself getting behind any of these new characters like I did when it was Laurie or Jamie. Well, there you go. There's my review on Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. In terms of the films I've reviewed so far in the series, this one is definitely my least favorite. I dislike it even more than I do Halloween 5, because at least Halloween 5, Michael Myers is intimidating and not stopped by a bunch of ruins, and I still had, a good lead in, Jamie to follow. This one, it's just a mess all around. So, yeah, it's not very good. But I wanted to thank you all for joining me in this review. I hope you enjoyed it, had a good time. We can, discuss the movie more in the comments. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, you can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/SeanJTKing. Comment, like, and subscribe. And I got one more question to end this video with that you can leave in the comments below where we can continue to discuss this. So, the endings of both movies. My question for you today is, how do you think the sequel would have gone to both endings of the film? Say they continue off the events of the theatrical ending, where do you think the sequel would have gone? What do you think would have happened afterwards? And if they actually continued off the ridiculous producer's cut ending, where do you think the series would have gone from there? Let me know in the comments below. We can discuss this further. Thank you to everyone who watched this video all the way through. I hope you enjoyed it, had some fun making fun of Halloween 6 with me. And next one is going to be Halloween H2O. So I hope you'll be back for that when I, at some point, get to that, hopefully sometime soon. And I'll talk to you all later. Thank you so much for watching. Take care now. Bye-bye then. Halloween 6 sucks. Go watch any of the other ones. They're better. Well, maybe. There's another one we haven't gotten to yet, which fans mostly consider to be the worst. So, yep. Alright. That's all I got to say. Thank you so much for watching. Take care now. Bye-bye then. I'll see you next time. And JTISREBORN out. Bye-bye.